Welcome back to the Non-League Papers, Non-League Goalmouth. My name is Matt Badcock. I'm joined by our executive editor, John Couch, and our regular freelancer, Matthew Nash. Matt, how are you?
I'm good, mate. And yourself?
Very good. Thanks for joining us, mate. Thank you for tuning in. Matt's, you've seen his name in the paper many times. There's all sorts of different bits for us, don't you, Matt? And come in and help us on a Saturday night as well. So love having you on board, mate. And I know you've been on here as well before, so good to have you back. And good going to start with you really, because you did a piece for us a couple of weeks ago with Billy Rowley about how Walton and Horsham are absolutely flying in that Southern Premier League South, and he's been talked about as one of the best young managers up and coming for a while, and he's now going to land himself a National League job at Yeovil Town, and great opportunity for him there. And what do you sort of make of him when you've been speaking to him? And you've done quite a few pieces with him in the last sort of few months, haven't you?
Yes, mate. Yeah, I think that the first thing about him, he's very good at what he does. He's a very good manager, a very good coach. And I think I went to the Walton and Horsham game against Berkhamsted last night on Tuesday, and speaking to them, they were aware that his work in getting them to the top of the table in Southern Premier South was going to get noticed, and that people may come in from higher levels for him. So when a club like Yeovil come in for you from two divisions above, it is difficult to turn down, isn't it? If you're at step 3. But yeah, a very good manager who is obviously getting noticed. Hard one for him to turn down, I think. Hard for Walton and Horsham to lose the guy who's taken them to the top of the league. But at the same time, I can't imagine too many people in his position kind of turning that down, really. That kind of opportunity to go to a club like Yeovil who are fully full-time. Somebody who's, a club that's got an opportunity to perhaps push on. But I suppose it depends what Yeovil are going to want. How are they going to want to progress from here? He's going from a team that's won almost every game this season to a team that are struggling sort of towards the foot of National League. So it's a very different challenge for him. But yeah, a bright young manager who deserves his chance at a high level, I'd say.
Yeah, Couchy, people have been raving about him for quite a while, haven't they? And as Matt says, you can't turn down Yeovil with that kind of, it's been a difficult year for them. Obviously, Danny Webb came in and left pretty abruptly, and Richard Dryden's been sort of in charge since and before, after obviously Mark Cooper left early in the year. So a lot for him to kind of go in and kind of sort out. And that's going to take a bit of time, isn't it, to kind of get in his ideas? But a brilliant opportunity for him because of Yeovil's ceiling, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's big football club, aren't they? I mean, you forget they were in the Championship not too long ago. Still get big crowds, so very passionate fan base down there. Top 8 non-league team in terms of crowds, but it's just not happened for him. Mark Cooper was in there a few years, and they oversaw some pretty turbulent years behind the scenes. They thankfully managed to got that sorted a little bit now, but since Mark's gone, they haven't struggled. They have struggled on the managerial front. It just hasn't worked. Dave Webb, I think he only lasted a couple of days, didn't he? I think, and it was after appointing Richard Dryden, who well-respected coach, but untested management-wise at that level. I thought they were doing okay. Actually, I thought they were doing all right. The results had picked up a little bit, not too much. They were teetering on the brink. Really, the National League is very unforgiving if you're not on your game, as we know. And so all of a sudden, they've turned to Billy Rowley, and I always think it's great when you got managers at lower level given that chance. I often think that non-league managers could get more of an opportunity in the football league, and it sort of irks me a little bit when some of these Championship clubs go for these foreign guys that never heard of, and Watford in particular, the last 2 minutes and then they're gone, never heard of again. And you think, well, you're better off giving these young non-league guys a chance who know the English game and know the levels. So I think it's brilliant that Billy Rowley's got his opportunity, and I wish him every success because think he's going to need it. As you say, Bad, it's a tough job there. And as Matt said, this is a guy that's used to winning every game, and all of a sudden he's going into a very different environment. So good test for him. But I think the whole of non-league football will wish him well.
Yeah, Matt, as Couch is saying, great to see managers further down the pyramid kind of get that recognition to kind of go up and step into those sort of full-time roles. Obviously not ideal for Walton and Horsham. There'll be plenty of people, I'm sure, knocking on their door to take that on because of what he's left there. But it is nice to see managers, particularly further down that step 3, kind of get that recognition.
Yeah, I think so. It strikes me a little bit like Chris Agata going to Sutton earlier this season, in that he was a well-respected coach, albeit only one division lower, with the Progressive club, and has moved on to a club in the National League who've been sort of treading water. So, great opportunity for Billy. His team likes to play nice football at Walton. They were renowned for that. I guess it will be a case of wonder what he finds when he goes to Yeovil. What sort of players, what sort of style they've been playing. Is he going to have the players to implement that passing style that they have? Also a bit sad for Walton in that they're top of the table aiming for promotion to step 2. I suppose it's not completely out of the realms of possibility that both teams, Yeovil and Walton, could be at step 2 next season playing each other. But Yeovil will be hoping, obviously, that's not the case.
Yeah, definitely. That's the thing, isn't it? It's when you're going well and you're sort of down the food chain, you know people are going to always be circulating and circling, and they're going to often come for you, and it's hard to turn down. And not the only new manager in the National League this week, Couchy, although Neil Gibson's not exactly new because he's been at Altrincham for a while. He was interim after Phil Parkinson left. That really disappointing from their point of view FA Cup result against Slough Town the other week, didn't they? That sort of get knocked out there, but they've won 3 out of 4 since then. They lost on Saturday Southend, but they won their other, I think, 3 in the league since then. Neil Gibson's obviously been appointed permanently. Now we sort of saw what he was about at Wealdstone last year, kept them up kind of against the odds, and then moved away in the summer. But a great opportunity for him now to really have that stability to sort of move forward and get Alty climbing the table again. Because I think we were all surprised when Parkinson left, weren't we, in the first place? Phil Parkinson did such a great job there over sort of 9-10 years, I think it was, and I think I said at the time sort of the understatement of the century in there when they let him when he left, to say that he'd left the club in a better place considering what he'd taken over. But a big opportunity there for Neil Gibson now and the club to sort of move forward and have that sort of certainty of what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, what a perfect audition for being a caretaker manager. Not easy to replace the likes of Phil Parkinson, who's been a legend there for so long, and to come in and to take over a losing team and to try and steady the ship and fill big shoes like that. Not an easy job, and so I think probably a few people would have felt for Neil Gibson, but to turn things around and put 3 straight wins to see them climb the table back in the mid-table, really, where they should be. Let's face it, they shouldn't be in those lower reaches of the top flight. Absolute massive credit to him, and so they come close to beating a very good Southend team on Saturday as well. Thoroughly deserved, and we saw at Woking that that Neil Gibson knows his Wealdstone, that Neil Gibson knows his stuff, and tremendous. I think it's thoroughly deserved, and I think Altrincham fans will be pleased with that appointment, and will get right behind him, because again they're team a little bit like Yeovil. If they take their eye off the ball, they could end up getting sucked into that relegation mire. It's such an unforgiving league, the National League. I don't think they will. I think they'll be fine. They've got some really good players, and now they've got a little bit of stability now in Neil Gibson, and again, quite much like Billy Rowley, I think non-league football will wish him all the best.
Yeah, like you say, that table is quite tight at the minute. I know it's sort of what you'd expect to be at this sort of stage of the season, because only just over a third of the the way in, obviously approaching that halfway stage, but a couple of wins can make things feel better. And I imagine things feel a lot better, Couchy, at Woking after Saturday's derby win against Aldershot. A big win for Neil Ardley's side anyway, but obviously moves on the table, but also the fact that they've beaten their rivals, and judging from the videos and the scenes afterwards, they certainly seem to enjoy it.
Yeah, they did. They needed it. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of talk about the trophy game between the two of them at the EBB last season, the semi-final. Ended in controversy, didn't it? But Aldershot got that one over the line, and that was a real big derby scoop for them. So they need a little bit of revenge, and I think by all accounts they were good value for their win, and they certainly enjoyed that. They always in my days covering Aldershot, I knew they both sides really enjoy a bit of derby success over their big rivals, and it was their day. Personally, I'm a little bit worried about Aldershot. I think that's 7 defeats on the spin now. They've got injuries coming out of their ears, and the lone players going back. I hear that Josh Barrett's been in hospital this week and is recovering. They're about to get a new goalkeeper in because Matt Nash suffered an injury that led to Woking's goal. So they're in a little bit of shtuck, and John Coleman's got a lot of work to do to try and piece everything together. And as we said before, the National League is such an unforgiving league, and all of a sudden Aldershot find themselves second from bottom. I think they're 6 points adrift now of safety. That's tough to overcome, and they're going to need to get their house in order pretty soon. Otherwise, we could be seeing the FA Trophy holders in National League South next year.
Yeah, did you see them earlier this year, Matt? Or was it end of last year? I can't remember if you popped down to Aldershot.
Start of the season, I did see it. I was just thinking, are you guys worried about Aldershot at all? A club I quite like, but one which they seem to be going sort of backwards, don't they, at the moment on the pitch? They lost one of their best players, didn't they, to I want to say Chelmsford after the FA Trophy.
Jack Barham, yeah.
That's it. They
lost a few.
They didn't look great when I saw them, and it's going to take a big job, isn't it, from John Coleman to get them safe this year? I think
he's got to use all his nous there, and I think probably also people forget a couple. You say about Josh Barrett, how important he is for them.
Yeah.
Couchy. But also, they lost 2 years ago. They lost Tolad, who's now scoring goals in League One, isn't he? And Stokes as well was ripping it up.
Yeah.
All that long ago that they had that sort of firepower, which is obviously hard to replace. Generally,
it's a long time ago now.
Yeah, conceding too many goals is always a bad thing. Talking about teams who can't stop the goals going in, but can't stop scoring at the other end is York. And again, Couchy, they're just, we were talking about them last week. We went to Bratley on Saturday, won again. Ominous for everybody around them, and Ollie Pearce just keeps whacking them in as well.
Yeah, different sort of win for them, and I think that'll please Stuart Maynard. I mean, obviously they've had a rich run of form recently. Scored 4 goals in each of the last 4 games. They've had things their own way, but at Brackley they didn't on Saturday, and they had to win in a different way. Had to come from behind for starters. Brackley's not an easy place to go. We've had Gazdeen on here. We know what we know. He can when he shuts up shop. They're not easy to break down. And York had to dig really deep here. And as I say, Josh Stones at the moment is probably in the form of his life. But at York and with Ollie Pearce up front, you've always got a chance. And they managed to turn it around and get a very, very hard fought 3-2 win. And that will do their promotion hopes a power of good, because that was a real tough assignment, and one that they passed with flying colours, but in a different way.
Yeah, Matt, obviously there was that surprise at Adam Hinchelwood. I think we've sort of seen since that, there was a bit of a fallout behind the scenes at York. He's gone back to Worthing, and a club that you sort of know well and have covered quite a bit. And they lost last night to Torquay. They were leading as well, weren't they, Couch? Torquay obviously beat Eastbourne 7-0 on Saturday, and they've sort of their fans, we hope they're finding finding their form, and Louis Dennis certainly seems to be doing that for them. But Hinchelwood's obviously had a great impact since he's gone back into Worthing and taken over from Chris Agutter, as he said earlier. He's gone to Sutton. I think it was at 9 wins in a row, Couchy, that they had before that Torquay won. But kind of, it probably feels like he's never been away, doesn't it, from the Worthing fans' point of view with Adam Hinchelwood?
Yeah, I think it does. It's sort of the second coming, isn't it? Really, he's been fantastic. Last night they've obviously lost in the league for the first time, but what a great run to really get them up from mid-table when he came in to where they are now, and suddenly challenging for automatic promotion, let alone playoffs. Hinchelwood obviously has that magic touch with Worthing, knows exactly what they need. He's come back to a club which is sort of basically full-time now from the part-time one he left. It's changed, it's moved on since he's been away, but he's come back and fitted in seamlessly. And the goals of Brad Dollaghan have been pretty useful for them. Yeah, for them too. He's been a goal machine, returning to Worthing this season. So a lot to come from them, I think. If Hinchelwood can sort of continue the job that he's been doing, they're going to be right up there. I mean, they're always right up there, aren't they? But I just wonder if this year they'll be able to finish the job.
Yeah. Have you seen much of Brad Dollaghan? Because he was there before, wasn't he? And then he went to West Ham, and obviously now he's come back, and he seems to be the name on everybody's lips again at that level. Yeah,
he came through the academy. Great lad. Saw him once previously and once this time around. And obviously Babalola left to join Forest Green last month. So the goals are coming, from Dollaghan much more now. He's really hit a hot streak this season. They're going to rely on him a lot if they're going to be going up this season by the look of it. And with him and Hinchelwood, it's local guys that are leading the charge for Worthing, which is a great story as well. You've got a local guy as the owner, as the chairman, manager and top goal scorer. So it's a real sort of community kind of combined effort there. They've really struggled, haven't they, to get over the line the last couple of years. So they're knocking on the door, Worthing, and maybe Hinchelwood can sort of push them through it.
Yeah, it does have that feel that it's kind of a matter of when with them getting into that step one. Obviously, now that's going to be a big step, and I'm sure there'll be a lot to kind of sort out to make that step. But yeah, unbelievable. But tough one on Saturday for them. Couch, obviously they're playing welcoming Hornchurch, who are flying under Darren McMahon. I don't know if you've seen any of the Instagram videos of from Hornchurch of Darren McMahon sort of nutmegging his players in training. It's they're quite worth a watch. He's still got a bit of magic in the boots as McMahon, who's sort of unbelievable player at non-league level.
I remember him scoring do you remember his goal for Farnborough in the playoffs against Ebbsfleet? I mean, Farnborough lost that day 3-2, but if I remember rightly,
just a bit of magic, was it?
35 yards, right at the top corner. One of the best goals I think I've seen. It was a stonking goal. It really was.
Yeah, I think Mike West scored a great goal, an overhead kick for Ebbsfleet.
He did.
That was an unbelievable strike.
Yeah, he got a couple, but one in particular was a stunning goal from overhead kick from the edge of the box.
Yeah,
it was
scissor kick.
It was fantastic goal.
Yeah, it was a good good final that with Ebbsfleet. Going back up under Liam Daish, and he was that meant a lot to Liam Daish, that win from memory, because he was really upset how they'd sort of dropped out of the national, the conference as it was then, down to step 2 because of the whole Chester City situation. I think they'd beaten them twice, and then Chester pulled out halfway through, and they lost those 6 points. And Liam Daish really sort of meant a lot to him to get back up that day. It feels like a long time ago now.
They bought thousands that day, didn't they? They bought so many.
That was a
point. I think it surprised Farnborough. I don't think they expected that many away supporters, and they crammed the place. And it was a great occasion, really. Over 4,000 in a ground like that. I mean, bearing in mind that was before the days of the. I think it was before the days of the stand, wasn't it? Maybe the stand was just built or something like that.
Behind the goal, I think it was kind of half built behind that goal.
It was
around the farmer end.
It was a bank holiday, if I remember right. It was an incredible day.
Yeah, we can move on to Ebbsfleet because that wasn't a great result for them last night against Horsham. But Horsham, Matt, absolutely flying. I know you spoke to Dom De Paola quite a few times. They've sort of come up from the Eastbourne Premier last season, and it's kind of always like, let's try and consolidate, all that sort of talk. But they're surpassing all expectations, aren't they?
Yeah, very much so. I remember speaking to Dom back in maybe July, and if I remember rightly, they actually had a budget cut rather than a budget rise after promotion. So the expectations were pretty low there for this season. If they could just finish fifth bottom, I think they'd have been happy. So yeah, they've very much been the surprise package, or one of several surprise packages in a rather crazy division this year, and they just keep getting good results. I know you get that bounce, don't you, after promotion sometimes, that momentum, and they've obviously got that. But it's showing sort of no signs of stopping. Touch wood, I don't want to jinx it for them. But yeah, great result again at Ebbsfleet. What they've got is they've got a really good squad, Horsham, a good bunch of players, built in Dom's own image. He knows what he likes. He knows the players he can rely on. And at the moment, they're cutting it at the higher level. So yeah, I hope it continues for him. Yeah, he's doing a great job. And what a job Dom's done picking them up when they had no ground. They were ground sharing at Horsham YMCA in the County League. Now they're sort of in the upper echelons of National League South. So yeah, incredible job he's done and continues to do, really.
Yeah, Couch, you feel like you get the sense they're just enjoying the ride there as well. And they sort of actually, sometimes you can come up and it can become a bit of a slog, and everyone sort of tells you how tough the league's going to be. But when you can kind of then go out and get the results that they are and enjoy it as much as they seem to be, it's that just sort of rolls into itself as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it was momentum. I think you often hear the phrase in cup games. If you're top of the league, it doesn't matter what level it is. You're up against a confident team in form. And Horsham have come as they've taken the new level to like a duck of water, and they're not the only ones. I think it's amazing this year when you look at you look at the north as well. Look at what Merthyr are doing. I think we're going to talk about Merthyr in a minute, but Radcliffe. I know Radcliffe haven't just come up, but they've progressed through bit by bit. But there's a lot of underdogs in there at the moment. A lot of teams you wouldn't really expect to be at the top of step two, who are performing well above expectations, and it's great to see, because both leagues are very, very competitive, as we know, especially in the south this year. The amount of money that's been spent in that division is incredible. So for the likes of Horsham to go toe to toe with Ebbsfleet, who have just come down for National Leagues, and beat them away from home, shows just what they're about. And it's great to see. It's good to see the underdogs doing well.
Yeah, bonkers division. So I think after, as we talk now, they're 5 points off the top. I think they've played more games than most around them. But to be 5 points off the top after 20 games, they would have thought you're going mad if you said that to them in the summer. But like you say, Matt, they've been for the club how they've been progressing in recent years, and they had that great FA Cup run a couple of years ago, didn't they, when they took Barnsley to the replays? Remember those when they were a thing? But for the whole club to have to step up, it's not an easy gap to bridge, that one between step 3 and 2. No,
absolutely. And honestly, do think the expectations were very low there in the summer going up. So really, it's you got to look at it. It's probably a step 3 squad that he's gone up with. He's not really added much to it, Dom, over there. So it's great management that's proving the difference so far. And a manager, again, who maybe should be attracting glances from higher up, possibly, because the job he's done. But he's so closely associated with Horsham. But could he do it at National League level, possibly? Dom's done such a good job. Maybe deserves a chance one day.
Yeah, why not?
He's done it superbly well. I suppose the challenge for them will be, the first year is the momentum. Can they do it again next year, and can they push on again? And it is hard in that division where there's so much money, as you mentioned a few minutes ago. So many full-time teams. depending who you speak to, the number is 14, 15, 16 full-time teams in that division. And even in the Isthmian Premier, I think there's several. So Horsham are very much part-time. And I suppose it's where they go from here now.
Yeah, certainly clubs not having it all their own way in that division at the moment. And you're saying those sort of full-time ones. And we'll get your thoughts on Eastbourne. You know, they said a minute ago, they lost that big, heavy defeat to Torquay on Saturday. And, you know, we know what their sort of ambitions are. And they've come out and refunded the fans. What do you sort of think about that? It's kind of one of those sort of nice gestures, but you know, as a fan, you kind of got to expect it. Unfortunately, sometimes you are going to see your side on the end of some hidings, but it's just not quite happening for them at the minute. And Tommy Woodrington will be wanting to get them going as soon as possible, because it's, you know, it's starting to become a bit sticky for them as well.
Yeah, Tommy's certainly not had it all his own way down there, as you said. It's a funny one, isn't it? Because I think as a fan, you do have to kind of prepare yourself that unless you're one of the top few brackets of clubs you're supporting, you're probably going to take a few pastings here and there. I think the three of us can attest to that with our teams over the years. You might get a little whipping here or there, especially away from home. But there's no way that Eastbourne team should probably be losing 7-0 at Torquay. Refunding the fans is a nice gesture, isn't it? I suppose it keeps them on side from the owner. It's got to show signs of turning it around and pushing up soon, haven't they? It was going so well for Sussex with Worthing and Horsham, wasn't it? We've moved on to Eastbourne now. Not so good.
We had to bring it back down, bring it back a bit of balance there. But
yeah.
Talking of big results, there was another one last night, Couch. You wasn't there, with Maidenhead whacking 6 past Salisbury. 2 days after Alan Devonshire, a legendary manager, sort of everyone knows all about what he's achieved, not just at Maidenhead, but you know, throughout his career at other clubs as well. And you know, that's just his management career, let alone his playing career, which is, you know, played obviously at the highest of levels, and yes, a heavily decorated career. He's announced that he's stepping down after last night's game against Salisbury, and then they've got Chippenham on Saturday, and then he's going to walk away off into the sunset. But maybe it's brilliant man management to announce it and then go and get a big result on a couple of days later.
Do you know what? I was looking at all the results yesterday, and he was the first person I thought of, because I just had visions of poor old Dev. You know, he's been in the game so long. You know, he's forgotten more about the game than we know. I just had visions of him with his pipe, sat in his living room, looking at the results, thinking, what is going on? You know, his team just lost 5 on the trot. It's a bit of pressure, and he's thought, okay, I've had enough. You know, maybe it's a good time to stand down, let Ryan Peters have a go, or let somebody else have a go. And you know, he thoroughly deserved every accolade he gets, as I say, because this is a legend of the game. And then in his first game back. His first game without him, they go and win 6-0 away from home. I bet he must have been looking at the screen thinking,
he was still in charge, wasn't he? He was still in charge last night, and he's still in charge for the next game on Saturday. So it was like brilliant. It is brilliant.
Yeah, maybe it got the reaction. Yeah,
brilliant team talk in a way. So just do the same on Saturday. You could just keep doing it. Our staff keep rolling over, and then they'll sort of just go and walk the division. But
what a guy though! What a guy though! I mean, I think you just see the comments that his fellow managers have left him on social media, and you know, I've been talking in the press this week, talking about him in glowing terms. He's an absolute legend, and 69 years old. Does he really get another job? I hope not. I think he enjoy his retirement, as I say, and you know, put your feet up and just enjoy your football from the armchair. But I mean, Maidenhead will invite him. I'm sure he'll have a seat down at York Road with his name on it, and you know, whenever he wants to go down there, watch a game, and go watch it with Timmy Mallet. But you know, he'll be welcome with open arms. You know, with a nice pint and a meal.
Well, I think the way he kept him up in the National League for so long. Every year people would sort of say at the start of the season, "Oh, Maidenhead could be their year to go down," and time again they'd sort of defy those odds. Obviously, last year they did sort of kind of finally catch up with them a little bit. But think of the players that have come through there that he's had as well, that have gone on to other things, and not just at that, obviously other clubs as well. But he sort of feeling he sort of enjoyed overturning the odds. I always remember covering his Braintree side a few years ago when it went to Luton on sort of towards the end of the season. I think Luton just needed a win to seal the title, and it was that sort of carnival atmosphere outside Kenilworth Road before the game, and little Braintree turning up, and they'll sort of just kind of roll over and let the party begin. But they had absolutely zero intention of that happening. I think they went 2-0 up quite early on.
They did. I remember that game.
It was not
John
the day,
Steele's team, wasn't it?
Yeah, John Steele's. They had to wait. I think they had to wait one more week. I can't remember if they actually won it while they were playing. I think it was
it was lunchtime kickoff. It was on the telly.
Yeah,
and, packed house at Kenilworth Road.
It was. I always remember Dev coming out with kind of like a bottle of Bud afterwards, sort of to do the interviews, and being like, "Well, that sort of thing." They should have known to write off Braintree, for sure. But incredible career, and we'll see how they go on Saturday in his final game at the club. And I'm sure, as you say, the club will be paying lots of tributes to him, and we're hoping to chat to some players that he played under him for this Sunday's paper, so check that out as well. But Couch, you mentioned it a minute ago, National League North and Merthyr, they weren't happy about going in the National League North when the allocations came out in the summer. They did appeal it, but they've certainly doing well with all those miles that they are putting in. Or they would put quite a few miles in the south as well, to be fair. And Ricardo Reese, I think I looked at the scores last night, and they'd scored 2, and Ricardo Reese hadn't, and then he grabbed 2 after that. So he's absolutely flying for them as well, as the whole of Paul Michael's side are.
Yeah, I spoke to Paul a couple of weeks ago. We had a nice chat about sort of how it's going for them. So they weren't unhappy, I think, moving to into National League North. I think both would have been a real stretch for them. I mean, some of those Kent and Essex games in the south, that's a bit of a haul for them as well. So I think they knew what they were getting into, but I don't think they realised just how well they would start. And I mean, they had some. He was telling me about some of the trips they've had. They've had a bus breakdown. They've had only one hotel stay.
Did they forget their kit as well, or something like
that?
Yeah,
they forgot the kit. That's right. Yeah, when they went to Chorley, they forgot their kit. They've had their challenges, but they've overrun them, and they look great. They're a really, really difficult team to beat at Pennydown Park, and as I say, they're another team with a very passionate fan base, very historic team. They've got a lot of big history of European football as well. It's a real football place, and I tell you what, in Ricardo Reese, they've got someone who's absolutely red hot at the moment. I think it's 23 goals or something in 16 games. I think I read somewhere. I mean, that's crazy numbers. But Paul did say already the scouts are there, and there's a lot of people watching him, and they're going to do very well to keep him. I think he's hot property at the moment, and with all these football league clubs looking at him. Bristol City, I think I mentioned, were mentioned as well. It could be a very interesting couple of months. I think Merthyr are going to want to keep him for as long as possible, but as long as he is in the door, they've got every chance of making it into the National League. And what an achievement that would be!
I think I'd turn my phone off if I was him, and not answer any calls that come in the sort of coming months. And also, I think sort of forgetting the kit makes me feel I can sort of sympathise with that, because someone who forgot the bag when my wife was about to give birth, and I sort of opened the rush into hospital, open the back door. I imagine this, what the kit man would like, sort of pull up the coach and think, It's not in there. And I kind of was looking around in the car, knowing exactly where it was on our living room floor at home, and I'd had to make a rapid phone call to get it rushed there. But
but you would have been.
These things happen, Couchy. These things happen. We're not all perfect.
You would have been would have been. Well, the kit man would have been more popular than you. Put it that way.
Yeah, it wasn't my finest hour. I must admit, it wasn't my finest hour. But there's no, it's we're past it now. We're all through it. It only comes up every so often. Talking about National League North and teams going well, Marine obviously beat Kidderminster on Tuesday night, so that was a great win for them. They're sort of into the thick of the playoffs. It does feel quite, as you say, both Step 2 divisions, sides up there that we maybe didn't expect. We talked about Radcliffe and how well they've been going recently. I spoke to Anthony Johnson the other week, and I guess that short match shows the beauty of football, that we have all these sort of pre-season predictions and who we think are going to be up there, and it shows that can teams do go overachieve, and as Couch was saying, the year of the underdog maybe.
Yeah, I think so. It's quite nice, isn't it, to see that it's not all about money necessarily. That you can't necessarily buy your way out of divisions. National League South especially, I've sort of watched a lot this season, and there are teams you'd expect to be up there and sort of nailed on for promotion who just aren't so far. And in pre-season, you just said, wow, with their budgets, they would be up there. So, yeah, it's kind of nice to have a little bit of okay, teams have got a good squad, they've got a good team, they can compete. It's not all about having the best players. There's something nice about it. It brings a bit of a purity to some divisions where money can sort of dominate, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. One result that stood out on Tuesday night has to be Poole Town 5, Tiverton 5. One of those scores when you sort of see it. I mean, if I hadn't seen it during the games, I wouldn't have believed it was. I would have thought it was one of those glitches that seem to be coming up from where the results have been reported in this season.
Yeah.
Was it 5-4 at half time?
4-5 at half time.
So, yeah, Tiverton winning. It's what a bonkers game. Have you chaps, Matt? Have you ever been to a game quite like that? I feel like these are the games I'm never out. I've sort of seen my fair share of 1-0s and 0-0s this season. I've never seen a 5-5. Ever seen anything like that?
No, I was very close the other month when Guernsey won. I want to say Guernsey won 7-6 at Shoreham, and I actually went somewhere else, maybe about a month ago. I wish I'd gone to that. Obviously that's
more than that, a game, and you're like, when you sort of decide in between one, you're like, I knew that.
Yeah, they just got it. I got it completely wrong.
Wasn't that the one where they got like loads of goals in the last few minutes? Totally bonkers, wasn't it?
I want to say they were like 6-2 down or something and came back. Yeah. But that was massive.
It was 2 7-6s that night, wasn't there? Because we reported them in the paper. But the Guernsey one was
completely bonkers. But I suppose the second half at Poole last night was always going to be a bit of a sort of let down, wasn't it? After the first,
probably the halftime team tours, they sort of going like, "Look, it's got to stop. We've got to just
keep it tight."
Maybe they just both put sort of 8 behind the 8 across the back line and just sort of.
You got to feel sorry for Tiverton, though. They were bottom of the league and they scored 5 goals away from home at a Poole side who are going for promotion and in the playoff places and still don't win the game.
It's mad, isn't it? That sort of game, when you've seen a first half that good, I'm sure we've all been at a game where you just know second half might be a little bit of a letdown after that. But you certainly get your money's worth down there, don't you?
Yeah, it seems to be that way. I always wonder what the managers think of that when you come, after that. What pleased that you scored 5 goals, but a few
with hair like mine.
Yeah.
Poor old Tiverton manager. He probably going through it a little bit at the moment, and I think he'll be pulling his hair out. And then you got the Poole managers, who's is it Jolie and
Patirachi and Jolie?
Isn't it? Yeah, I mean, they would have very very young managers. They probably wouldn't have overseen many games quite like that before. But I think
they've achieved a lot in their young managerial career already. I think it's when they were at Gosport and they've gone to Poole and they're going well. But they've probably not seen anything quite like that. So lots that's the beauty of non-league. You can turn up to a game, any game, and suddenly you can have your run of 0-0s, and then you go and see a 5-5, and that's why we love. I'm hoping for one. I could.
Well, you never know, mate. I mean, we could talk about systems and tactics and everything else. And sometimes you just have a game that's mental, and you can't really kind of dissect it really. Otherwise, like Shoreham Guernsey is another one. How do you explain 7-6? Really, it's one of those things. You can't say, well, we've tried playing 3 at the back and it didn't work. Well, nothing worked. You let in 7 and 6. It's it's the way it is sometimes. It's just football is bonkers, and we love it.
Yeah, that's what 30 years and I haven't seen a game like that. So.
Talking of that, systems and things, it reminds me of the talking to Chris Augusta last week at Sutton, and they're sort of quite like it was, for a young coach, often coaches who come through the sort of pathway that he has. Obviously, he was a non-league player, but done academy coaching and all that sort of thing. And there is a lot of kind of talks of systems and transitions and tactics and trust in the process and all that kind of thing. But he was saying last week, you can talk all your three box threes, 4-2-3-1s, all that sort of stuff. A lot of it comes down to you just got to run around, and I think
true.
We doesn't matter if you don't run around and work hard for each other. And he said that we've been doing a bit of that, and that's why they've turned their sort of fortunes around as well under him. So the old school habits are also important, and I think there'll be a bit of maybe Paul and Tiverton will be in training on Thursday night and tying the old rope to the back four, and so that they move together and try and sort of pull that trick out. But chat, so it's been a really good chat. I really appreciate your time. We'll leave it there for this week. Thanks everyone for joining us again. Like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. We really appreciate it, and make sure you pick up Sunday's paper. We're hoping, Matt, you're hoping to get hold of Billy Rowley and get a nice piece in there of him. I'm hoping to speak to Neil Gibson. So all the new managers chat. We're looking ahead to some FA Cup games as well, with that on the horizon. FA Cup second round on the horizon. We've got the Vars next week as well. So plenty in there. We appreciate your time, and we'll see you again soon. Cheers, chaps.
All the best.